Welcome to the Penn State Show here on DK Sports Radio. I'm your host, Audrey Snyder, and we are, of course, in the second week of Penn State spring practice. And, as one would expect, the Nittany Lions are making progress. It's still rainy, cold, and miserable in State College, but we're inching closer to that spring game, so that's certainly a positive. And I'll have plenty of updates and news and analysis off of Penn State's Wednesday night practice here on the second segment of the show. But first, I wanted to take a look back at a very unique event that unfolded in Pennsylvania within the last week. It was Saquon Barkley Day in Coplay, Pennsylvania last Saturday, a day that was meant to honor the former Nittany Lion as he gets ready for the NFL Draft. So I headed to Coplay, Pennsylvania Saturday morning with another writer, and I was freelancing a piece for another outlet and was working on a story about this day, what it meant to the people there, and just really the spectacle that it was. And, I said to some of the other reporters who were there, I said, as many things as we may cover in our careers, we will probably never cover something quite like this. It was an event that was estimated to have 5,000 people at it. There were people tailgating in their front yards, which, this is a small town in Pennsylvania. If anyone's ever been to Coplay, it's in the Allentown area. So Barkley, of course, went to Whitehall High School. So they had the youth league football team. They marched in the parade. They had the color guard there. Barkley was actually riding in a Plymouth Prowler. So it was a car that I could not have told you what a Plymouth Prowler was a week ago. But it was a very fancy car, and he sat in the top of that as he went through the parade route, which spanned through his hometown. And it was a really interesting sight because you had Penn State fans who came from all over. You also had a lot of Penn State fans who were in the area because, of course, the hockey team played a few miles away at the PPL Center this past weekend, where their season ended in a loss to Denver in the NCAA hockey tournament. So you had a lot of Penn State fans in the area. But, as I was kind of climbing through people's front yards, over snowbanks, through the mud, taking photos and videos, it really was an event that I just can't imagine how something like that would work in so many other hometowns, just because this was such a unique place. And after the event made its way through the town, which was probably about 5 or 6 blocks, it ended at the local park. And it actually, I thought, had more of a block party feel to it, which was pretty neat. But they had Barkley went up on stage, and they brought up his high school coach, his high school athletic director, his youth league coach, all these people who knew Barkley from various walks of life, who spoke about him. For a moment, it kind of felt like you were almost at a wake, where they were just rehashing their favorite Saquon Barkley stories. But I found it really interesting, and I should have, I guess, seen this one coming, given the proximity to New York. But there were a lot of people there holding up New York Giants signs and wearing Giants jerseys. So, of course, they want Barkley to stay nearby. Barkley was asked afterward kind of about his thoughts on the NFL draft and what it would mean, if he'd have a chance to go to New York and play for the Giants. He, of course, grew up as a Jets fan. He's talked about that many times. His dad actually has a New York Jets tattoo. He was a huge Curtis Martin fan as a kid. I remember that was one of the first things his family told me a few years ago when I was doing a story on him. So, Barkley said that he still thinks the Giants, have the pieces, certainly, to kind of make a run. But as you'd expect, he's going to have to continue to give these politically correct answers until the end of next month, when the NFL draft is upon us. But it was really a cool scene there in Coplay. And I've never been to an event where, a player like Barkley gets up, speaks to the crowd of 5,000, which actually packed this muddy hill in a park. I was kind of like, crammed into a hill, listening to this guy speak. And he, of course, thanked the fans for coming out, for supporting him, and also said that, he wanted to make sure that they'll continue to support him wherever he goes in the NFL, but also that they support him with, both success and failure. And, Barkley's been asked several times, and he was out in Los Angeles this week as another round of interviews, kind of continues and all this lead up to the draft. And this guy's going from, endorsement events with Nike to various, interviews and all over the place trying to to get everything lined up ahead of the draft. And something that caught me not by surprise, but that I found to be pretty interesting was when he was asked in one of his interviews this week, one of the many, about, of course, the Penn State running backs that have gone in the draft ahead of him. Everybody looks to Kajana Carter and where he was selected and say, okay, he was a bust. And Barkley was asked, what's different about him than the Penn State running backs that have gone in the NFL draft that haven't found success. And he said that, he thinks a lot of those guys ahead of him, of course, he had Larry Johnson who had 2 good years, but a lot of those guys dealt with injuries. And he said, he's been fortunate. He's been healthy for the vast majority of his Penn State career. He said everything checked out fine medically at the combine. So that's always the gamble. And that's something that Barkley even addressed. He said, hey, every time you suit up and play football, things like that can happen. You're just always one injury away. So I thought that was pretty telling. But I had an opportunity to talk with Barkley for about 15 minutes following his whole day. And it was really interesting to kind of pick his brain about what this transition has been like for him. He said he's still taking 6 credits. He's taken 2 online classes from Penn State. And I think he said after that he still needs about 15 or so more, maybe 16, to graduate with his Penn State degree. And that's something that he said was important to him and important to his family. He also said now realistically that degree completion won't be coming during his rookie season, but he did say maybe after that. So perhaps, in 2020, 2021, Saquon Barkley will be back at Penn State to walk across the stage in the Bryce Jordan Center and get his diploma. So all in all, really interesting day in Coplay, Pennsylvania. But Saquon Barkley kind of closing the chapter on his collegiate career. One final farewell, and we'll see what the NFL holds for Barkley. That now the NFL draft is just a month away, so the clock is ticking on Barkley's NFL future, and we'll have to see where that goes. But when we come back here on the Penn State Show on DK Sports Radio, I will bring you up to speed with all the news and notes and nuggets from Wednesday night's practice availability here at Penn State's campus.
Mike Lang here reminding you it's hockey season, and Lions Pride has everything Penn State for every Penn Stater. Oh, hallelujah, Hollywood. They have a wide selection of hockey hats, t-shirts, jerseys, and hoodies. Lions Pride is your one-stop Penn State shop for the Nittany Lion hockey fan in your family. Get in the fast lane, Grandma, and stop by our store at 112 East College Avenue before or after the games at Bakuto Arena, or shop online 24/7 at lions-pride.com. Lions Pride, everything Penn State for every Penn Stater.
It's time to cash in on non-stop sports action with MyBookie.ag. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event, plus MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with a bonus up to 100%. With decades of expertise and no-hassle payouts, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code DKRadio to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-BETS. Or visit mybookie.ag to open an account. Sign up today.
Miller Lite is the original light beer, and we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts.
Who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Snyder Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues. With the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit SnyderDowns.com.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this amazing new website, stepoutside.org. Hi, I'm Dan Kovacevic of DK Sports Radio. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I know about the outdoor life that's available to all of us in Western Pennsylvania. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, hunting. Take part in power sports, shooting sports, water sports in your local community, across our region, across the country at stepoutside.org.
In Pittsburgh, we bleed black and gold and love our city. Born in Pittsburgh and now celebrating 130 years in business, Henny Jewelers is proud to be your premier jewelry store. Whether it's choosing that watch you've always wanted or you're searching for the ring that was made for her, trust Henny Jewelers. Visit our store on Walnut Street in Shadyside to see our extensive inventory of designer engagement rings, watches, and one-of-a-kind jewelry. For more, go to hennyjewelers.com and follow on social.
Embarrassed by that stained carpet in your office? Tired of looking at your dull, dirty floor? My Floor Needs is here to fix that. With years of experience and 24/7 service, My Floor Needs offers stripping and waxing, carpet, tile, grout, and concrete cleaning, as well as polishing and buffing services. Call 888-67-MY-FLOOR or email info@myfloorneeds.com for a free estimate and get your floors looking like new again. Whatever your floor needs, call 888-67-MY-FLOOR.
Does your company ever miss its sales goals or struggle getting new business?
Is it tough to hire or to give reps the right tools?
Hi, I'm Dan, and I started Engaged Prospect right here in Pittsburgh to help companies like yours.
And I'm Sam. We're helping companies hit sales goals and grow their businesses.
Think of us as your inside sales team.
Our clients are experts in their fields. We're experts in inside sales.
Give us a call today at 412-715-5151.
Or visit us online at engagedprospect.com/DK.
It's been 50 years since the Summer of Love, but if you're not performing as well as you'd like, check out endedforless.com. I'm Eric Cushy of Curtis Pharmacy. Don't pay premium prices for the little blue pill. So Denafil, the same active ingredient as in Viagra, costs 80% less. endedforless.com. All we need is your physician's name. We do the rest. Free shipping, too. endedforless.com. Curtis Pharmacy, Western PA's Better Way Pharmacy. curtispharmacy.com.
Welcome to the Penn State Show here on DK Sports Radio. I am your host, Audrey Snyder, and we are back for more. A lot of news and views in this segment, especially after the big news Wednesday night coming out of Penn State's practice, which was quarterback Tommy Stevens will not transfer this offseason. This was a decision that I expected one way or another that this decision would not be happening this soon. It certainly bodes well for Penn State, as Stevens, the versatile quarterback who started in the Lion position last year, one that they created especially for him, said that yes, he was forward with James Franklin and with offensive coordinator Ricky Ronnie and the rest of the staff, that he looked around, that he talked with other teams as a potential graduate transfer, but Stevens said that ultimately Penn State was the best spot for him, and it was the spot that he wanted to be, a place that he's happy with, he's comfortable with. This is Stevens' his third spring with the program, so you look at that national trend of kids as graduate transfers who want to move on, who want to go elsewhere, and Stevens certainly had the opportunity. There was a lot of intrigue there. He's a kid who's from Indiana, so that was an option that kind of always was floated out there. Stevens at one point in his recruitment, way back when, actually was committed to Indiana before he decided to flip to Penn State once he got a scholarship offer. But this gives Penn State's offense so many opportunities to continue to expand that role, and Stevens said that he did sit down, he did talk with Ricky Ronnie. Presumably this was all in the lead up to making this decision, and said that, yes, he expects to take on an expanded role next year. I mean, make no mistake about it, there's no quarterback controversy here. This is Trace McSorley's team, no doubt about it, but the versatility that they get from Stevens, especially in the red zone, but not only in the red zone, as we saw Penn State expand last year, really is a boost when you look at this offense. And, I said from the end of the season that what Stevens would do would really be the storyline of the offseason, and this is about as good as you can hope for Penn State. I mean, you're keeping your guy, so Stevens will be the Lion again this year, and then not only that, but you've got a really talented and deep quarterback group, so now you don't have to worry about, okay, should McSorley get hurt, and Stevens wouldn't have been there had he transferred, then you would have been dropping down to Sean Clifford, who's only going to be a redshirt freshman, so, it really helps the depth there, but also your talent level just really rises up a notch when you have a guy like that you can do so many different things with. I thought it was interesting that Stevens was asked, when exactly did he come to this conclusion? And he said that it was within the past week, that he told his teammates within the last couple days, that he talked with his parents. They talked him through it, but ultimately told him, hey, this is your decision. We want you to be comfortable with it. And he said he is. And it wasn't until he was out at dinner with his girlfriend, he said recently, that fans were coming up to him and asking him what he was going to do, if he was going to stay, if he was going to go. And he said, it got to the point where he didn't want to be a distraction, and he felt that he was distracting his teammates by trying to figure this out. He's still on pace to graduate this spring. So, but for Penn State, talking with receiver DeAndre Tompkins after practice Wednesday night, they said, these guys are elated. Stevens then went on Twitter and tweeted his decision to stay after he spoke with us in a pretty epic way, actually. If you get a chance to check it out, you should. But, this is one of those things when you talk about building a roster, bringing in talent, developing the talent, but then keeping the talent. And that's why I think this move is really so important for Penn State when you look at it kind of in the bigger picture. The other thing with Stevens, so the good news is that he's staying. The bad news is that he has been injured this spring, which is why on the first day of spring camp, there were all those questions about where is Tommy? Is he leaving? He was on a cart at practice Wednesday night. Again, not a big deal. This is March. The guy is staying to play, so he will be fine. But what that means for now is that Sean Clifford is getting those number 2 reps, which is what you'd expect. It was last spring and really last fall camp, I should say, more so, that Clifford then supplanted Jake Zembick to get that then number 3 spot. But these are really valuable reps for Sean Clifford to take right now. And I asked James Franklin about that Wednesday night, and he said, sometimes when you get a quarterback that's banged up, it's kind of a blessing in disguise that, Clifford gets more reps this spring to get ready. But all in all, Penn State fans just have to be elated with this news and also with the depth at that position. So I will have much more on the site about the Tommy Stevens decision, what it means moving forward. I'll have video up of Tommy meeting with the media, all that and then some. But until next week, when we do it again for another episode of the Penn State Show here on DK Sports Radio, this has been Audrey Snyder. Have a nice week and take care.